This
Okay, that's
conference will
great.
now be recorded.
Okay, let me know if you are able to see the screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's audible, sir.
Okay, great. So let us go with the very basic of this particular VLSI, and then we will be entering into the advancements. So first, what is IC? Integrated chip is a full form of it. Okay, what is IC? Okay, why did we go for IC? To make the circuit smaller. Okay, the main purpose of it is like to make the circuit is like smaller. By how? That is like introducing more number of transistors into one particular smaller area, right? So now whenever we are talking in this particular industry, we rely on the terminologies. Okay, so this transistors, NMOS, PMOS, CMOS, FinFET, all this terminologies is very much required. Okay, now in this particular IC, we are saying is like n number of transistors are going to be inserted. According to that particular n number of transistors, we have different categories, and after that ULSI. So like that, that company is like developing more. That means initially we have started with hundreds of transistors in one smaller area. Later on, we have developed it to thousands, 10,000s, 1 lakh, 10 lakh. So now that particular transistor sizing is very, very important criteria here. Okay, during our engineering, we used to study one particular law. I'm long gone. Okay, that is like I may not be able to know that particular law name. Okay, we used to say it's like 10 power 6, right? That based on that particular 10 power 6 transistor sizing, our particular area will be reducing frequently. Correct? Smaller when we keep on going from one level to another level. So now what happened is like during this particular ASIC flow, let's say IC development, we have one particular separate flow going on. That is what we are going to say is like ASIC. And you will also hear a one more term called as SOC, system on chip, which will be like integrating multiple ASICs to perform multiple tasks. Okay, so this is like a very basic idea of that particular ICs. So in here, what are the required knowledges to be known by default is like, or let's say you should be knowing here is CMOS, NMOS, PMOS, how that particular current flow is going, how the channel width is getting developed, okay, and that particular ground bounds, power bounds, we have that particular current graphs, right? Knowing that particular information gives you more advantage. And also digital. Okay, so during this particular course duration, in the starting 1 month or 1.5 months, you will be having that particular basic sessions. Is it clear now? I'm not typing anything, I'm just orally speaking. Is it clear or still lagging?
Little bit.
Okay, just give me a second, I'll try to change the Wi-Fi. Is the voice clear now?
Yes, sir.
Change. Okay, great. Compared to earlier, a little bit better, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So when we are talking about this particular ASIC flow, the basic requirement is analog and digital to be known. Okay, and also a set of coding that is like either Pickle, Perl, or Python is required. Unix is compulsory. Okay, so during this particular starting 1 month or 1.5 month, where you will be having that particular analog, digital, and a support of coding. Okay, Unix and Tickle, which you need to focus. Okay, that is very much required. And later on, only for your advantage, you should be knowing a Python. Okay, if you want your resume to be in an upper hand, having two scripting knowledge is required. Okay, so we will be supporting in this particular programming only with respect to Tickle or Unix, to Tickle and Unix. Python is self, or you can, I think so, there are courses available, you can be able to join them. Okay, this is the first stuff. Now coming into this particular VLSI, the earlier technology nodes which we used to, we now comes into the terms of VLSI related. Okay, we are saying frequently here like technology nodes. Whenever you purchase a phone or a laptop, you will be seeing the processor is made at 7 nm, 10 nm processor. Like that, you will be seeing some keywords, right? The transistor sizing. Okay, in another terms to say, drain to source distance. Okay, based on that particular drain to source, we will be having this technology nodes getting defined. Okay, and according to that, we have further violations, and to fix that, we go for FinFET. Okay, we are now using is like FinFET technologies. Below 10 nm, we are going to be using FinFET. That is like FinFET is a multi-gated transistor, sorry, multi-gated CMOS or NMOS. So I'll just give a quick view. That is like whenever we are saying CMOS, we used to draw this particular diagram, right? Drain, source, sorry, NMOS or PMOS. We used to draw only this particular diagram and saying gate, drain, source. Correct? So now as this particular technology node reduces, the distance between this drain to source is also reducing. As two wells are close by, the chances of forming the channel is quick. The flow of electrons, if I give a small charge also, it will be forming in a very quick methodology where I cannot control at that particular instance. Okay, so to control, just give me a second. Yeah, just give me a second. I think so if you are facing that lagging problem, I'll ask admin for another Wi-Fi network which is accessible. Okay, am I audible now? Compared to earlier, is the network good? Yeah, perfect. Okay, right. So what I was trying to tell earlier is like this drain to source, as that particular technology node is getting increased or let's say reduced, the distance between them is getting also reduced. And because of that, a small electron which gets charged, it will be forming the channel in a quick methodology. Okay, we will also seeing a term called as DIBL, drain induced barrier load. Okay, drain induced barrier load. So due to this particular effect, what will happen is I will not be able to control this particular NMOS or PMOS with the gate. Okay, channel is formed quick na, one charge itself. So I will not be able to control through the gate. Now what is the methodology I have to use to make sure that controlling can be done? So what has been done is, instead of directly giving the channel, we introduce a particular gate in these two sides of drain and source also. This is called as FinFET. A pie-shaped gate will be formed around that particular channel such that I will be able to control. Okay, so the current they have gone to GFET, that means like 360-degree, and also sheet based FinFET. So like that they are advancing it, which is not introduced to your college standard yet. Okay, it's only present in the industrial standard. So you might not know about this particular concept. Okay, so this is the very much basics of this particular analog related. Okay, now I'll give the reason why, as a VLSI engineer, I should be knowing that particular analog also. Okay, the reason here is first one, timing is dependent. Okay, because of this particular flow of electrons, I will be knowing how much time it will take to reach from the input side to output side. That means the cell structure is very important. One off. Okay, second is like the leakage power control methodologies can be known. Okay, and also area reduction, how can I reduce that particular area? Okay, by in depth of all these particular concepts will be giving the understanding from analog. So that's why knowing analog is good, but when you go practically to say, when you go to industry, you don't need it. Okay, it is required for the analog design engineer or macro level design engineer. Okay, but we should know that particular concepts to crack any kind of MNC interviews. If you go to Qualcomm or Intel or ARM or AMD, they will be asking you this particular basic questions only first. Okay, what are second order effects? What is the manufacturing process? How to resolve that particular second order effects? So this is like required case. Okay, so all that particular basic related will be covered in the first month. Okay, now I'll just move to this ASIC flow, or let's say VLSI flow. Now in this again they will be asking a question like ASIC flow and FPGA flow. Both are similar. Okay, both are similar. I want my device to be working properly. But in this particular ASIC flow, you are going to be working on the development of a chip. Okay, that means internally how that particular cell placement is available, what all logic is there inside that particular black box, whatever you are seeing, right? Chip. Inside that, what all logic is there, you will be knowing that. Each and every bit of logic. But when it comes to an FPGA engineer, he will be working on that particular chip which has been developed. Okay, that is like we used to make sure like input output the data has to be propagated in this time such that my output will be proper. During your engineering you would have done Xilinx FPGA boards, no? No? Okay, in my engineering I have done that. Okay, so we used to work on FPGA boards where that particular controlling of that particular data also we can be able to process of that particular working chip. Okay, that is FPGA flow which is having a small deviation. So when we are talking about this particular ASIC flow or SOC flow, flow is same, but the level where you are working is different. Okay, SOC first is like we'll go with ASIC, and after that I'll just give a brief of the SOC, system on chip. So what is ASIC? At least full form. Full form of ASIC.
Application
Right. Application specific integrated chip.
integrated circuit.
Right. Circuit or chip. So that means we are going to be developing a particular chip only for one task. It will be not performing multiple tasks. Okay, developing of a chip for a particular task only. That means if I open the door, it should give an alarm, or let's say it should identify only that particular task. I don't need all that particular detail saying hello, welcome to this. Multiple task if you are adding, that is SOC. Scanning and telling who has logged in. Multiple tasks are running, right? So that is SOC. Easy to say your phone is an SOC, motherboard based. Okay, so when we are talking about this particular ASIC flow, the foremost requirement is, let's say, when you're buying a phone, what will be the first step you will try to look? How you will decide that I want to buy a phone?
Features,
What all features you will look into? Right. Features
RAM,
like
camera,
processor.
processors.
Correct. Perfect. That is like I want to look into the specifications of it, like RAM, what is the memory available, ROM, and next is like camera quality, and after that macro lens, what is its megapixel, what is the battery backup, what is the length of that particular phone, everything we will try to look. Correct. So that means the basic requirement, the first is idea, or to be more perfect is specifications. Correct. First I got that particular idea or specifications. Next, after getting this particular idea or specifications, the next entity I will look into is asking for suggestions. Correct. How, from where I can buy it, or which particular phone I have to buy it. That means I have to ask a particular team to convert this particular idea to a coded format, or let's say initial is like flows chart. Whenever you start writing a code, first based on that develop a flow chart, and on that particular flow chart you will be writing the code. Correct. So the next comes your architecture design, where we will be trying to perform conversion of idea to a flow chart. So when we are converting idea to a flow chart, or let's say specifications to a flow chart, only an highly experienced person can be able to do it. Okay, so he will be around like 10 plus 15 plus years of experience. If you have any query with respect to your design, he will be able to resolve in a few seconds because he has the complete picture. Okay, next comes the I got the flow chart. Now I have to write the coding for it, right? So which coding I have to take? Here comes your Verilog, system Verilog, HDL languages. Okay, next is RTL designer, where the codings will be performed in .v, .sv, .vhdl, and so on. Okay, so that sorry for that interruptions. Can't avoid. Okay, so once I have got that particular coding, I need to verify whether that particular code is following the functionality or not. Okay, so the next step is functional verification, where UVM codes, everything will be written out. I'm not a front end guy, so I might not be able to give the correct answers. Okay, functional verification, where we will be using different set of tools to verify that particular functionality basis. Okay, whether it is following as per the idea, it is written out correctly or not. Once the verification is done, what will be our next step? My code is written out properly. What will be our next task? Implementation. Okay, that means I need to convert this behavioral code to a physical implementation form, or let's say gate level representation. I have to convert first, and on this particular gate level representations I have to physically implement it. Okay, two steps are there, implementation itself. So before going into that particular implementation and after this functional verification, I have one intermediate stage, that is like to again re-verify few more steps and add few more features to it. Okay, we can say RTL sign off, or we can say multiple keywords also. In this particular RTL sign off, we will be performing, okay, a stage called as linting, CDC, formality, UPF, or let's say to be more perfect like CLP, and SDC, or let's say to be specific, timing constraints, and also I'll make it as a different stage. So CDC means clock domain crossing. Okay, first I'll give out the flow and after that we will go few terms in depth. Okay, CDC is clock domain crossing. That is inside physical design you will be having CTS, that represents clock tree synthesis. Okay, CLP means conformal low power. Okay, now after this RTL sign off stage, okay, after this RTL sign off stage, you will be performing synthesis. Okay, you will be performing synthesis. That means this is the stage where your physical implementation is going to be started. PD related basic part is the synthesis, okay, which is acting as an intermediate between the front end and the back end. Okay, this stages whatever we have discussed earlier is termed as front end. Okay, purely logical related they will try to work. Whereas from this particular synthesis, we will be starting working with respect to the physical part. Okay, that is like technology information based we are going to be working. Okay, so synthesis plays a role of converting behavioral code to gate level. Okay, and after this particular synthesis, GDS format is last. After synthesis, you will be having is physical design, where you will be converting that particular file format gate level netlist to GDS2. GDS is graphical data stream. Okay, gate level netlist to GDS2. And inside this physical design, we have one set of flow that we will see in a few more minutes. Okay, after this physical design, we have a sign off, where we will close the timing, power, densities, and so on. And next is chip. Post silicon validation, and if it is successful, given to the customer. Okay, so this is the basic of that particular ASIC flow. It looks like easy, na? Okay, done so far? Now, let's go in depth of few terms as I was telling earlier. So, CDC. Okay, so I'll tell like in our perspective what all we are going to do, right? And how that particular development will be there. let's say we'll say it's like required of PD. Okay, so first is like we need to get to know the information of, okay, how the timing constraints are developed. We need to know this, okay, each and every keyword of that particular timing constraint, we need to have a knowledge of it. Okay, next, how the data is getting propagated, and how to control dynamic power consumption, how to control leakage power, how to reduce the area of the chip. Done so far? Now, in here, let us talk with one more basic. Okay, one more basic, that is like flip-flop. Okay, so now what is a flip-flop? Can you be louder please if you're trying to answer? Flip-flop is a combinational circuit. Memory element which is like storing one bit of data at a time, right? It's a sequential circuit, right? Working based on the clock. Now, what is a latch? What is a flip-flop? Now, what is a latch? Latch and flip-flop both are sequential circuits, memory elements, but their working condition changes. If a flip-flop means works based on the edge of that particular clock, whereas latch based on the level, correct? So when we draw a clock diagram, this is a clock pulse, right, which we used to draw. When a particular sequential circuit is working based on this particular levels, we will be saying it's a, sorry, based on the edge, we'll be saying it's a flip-flop. When it works based on this particular edge, sorry, level, we will be saying it's a latch. Okay, this is the major difference. And one more difference is flip-flop will give you, correct, flip-flop is a heads triggered and latch is a level triggered. Okay, one more major difference is when we are having this particular latch, you might be propagate noise. Okay, latch might propagate noise, which will affect your functionality. Okay, whereas flip-flop, as it is filtered properly, that particular glitches, we are saying this noise as a glitch. that particular glitch will not be propagated. Okay, clear so far? So you would have heard about some circuits like n-bit counter, where you will be having back to back flip-flops, right? So in this particular flip-flop case itself, we are now going to be talking about this particular requirements, whatever I said in a basic view. Okay, such that when we go in an advanced level, okay, this is the purpose of it. So we need to develop this particular requirement that we will be able to get to know. Okay, so this is a very much basic diagram which you will be seeing for any kind of STA example. STA is timing analysis. Okay, static timing analysis, which will be in the sign off stage. This is a very much basic diagram which you will be seeing for explaining any kind of timing analysis based structure. Yeah, required time, arrival time, but now I'm not going in that depth. Okay. So here I have taken this particular diagram to explain few concepts like CDC, and also I said like timing constraints. So how that particular timing constraints here will be helping me, all that we are going to be stating. Okay. So this is a flip-flop 1 and this is flip-flop 2, and this is a combinational circuit where I will be having AND gate, OR gate, buffers, marks, anything it can be holding in that particular region. Okay, I want this particular data. What is our major goal is, I forgot to tell that as a basic. Our major goal is PPA. For a particular VLSI engineer, the major three terms to be known as PPA: power, performance, area. Right, power, performance, area. And also you can say like timing, power and area. Okay, timing, power and area also can be said. This is the major goal. I want to close my design by following all these particular criteria. Okay, now as I'm trying to transfer this particular data from this particular flip-flop 1 to flip-flop 2, what will be the time taken? Okay, what will be the time taken? In what time I have to send that particular data? Okay, that will be your time period. Initially, I'll draw one more line. Okay, the time period. What is time period? What is time period? We used to say, na, rise time plus fall time. Correct? This represents one time period or inversely proportional of the frequency. Okay. So in this particular time period, I have to send that particular data properly from flip-flop 1 to flip-flop 2. Okay. If it is not able to send, what should I do? That we will be going in the advanced concepts. Okay. This is the basic requirement. When we say performance, right? In that particular clock frequency, whatever I have provided, my data has to be transferred and received properly. Okay, that is performance. Okay, so the time period we need to provide it. So in the timing constraints, the major requirement is your time period. Okay, so like that, we will be having few more constraints like transition, capacitance, Okay, that when we go advanced, how that particular keywords are there, what is the purpose, we will try to see that. Okay, so we can also say that as SDC development, synopsis design constraints. Okay, SDC is synopsis design constraints. So in this particular design SDC file, we will be having timing information, area information, PVT conditions, or let's say, yeah, PVT conditions you can say, and so on. Okay, so what all types of timing constraints are present in, we will be looking. Okay, dynamic power consumption related voltage information also we can be able to find it through the SDC file. PVT conditions also will be present in the SDC file. So PVT means process voltage and temperature. Okay, clear so far? Now, so first is like time period we have observed. This, by seeing this particular information, flip-flop 1 and flip-flop 2 both are working with respect to the same clock, correct? Right. Now let's take another case. Now flip-flop 1 and flip-flop 2 is working with two different clocks now, but I want my data to be transferred, correct? I want my data to be transferred. So how this timing analysis will go? Okay, so let's assume now another basic question: what is a synchronous clock? What is a synchronous clock? What is synchronous clock? No idea? No. Synchronous clock means the clocks generated from the same PLL. Okay, when the clocks are generated from the same PLL, we will be stating that as clock 1, clock 2, clock 3, clock 4. Okay, clock 1 and clock 2 are synchronous to each other. Okay, whereas clock 2 and clock 3 are asynchronous to each other. Okay, so if I'm trying to, in the previous diagram we saw, right, flip-flop 1, flip-flop 2, when the clock 1 and clock 2 are synchronous to each other, I will be able to transfer the data properly because the phase is proper, correct? Frequency might be different, but the phase plays an important role. Okay, if clock 1 and clock 2 are in the same phase and if it is from the PLL1, that means we definitely have the same phase. Okay, we can be able to transfer and analyze that particular data properly. I don't have any issue there. But when I'm transferring the data from clock 2 to clock 3, if flip-flop 1 is working at clock 2 and flip-flop 2 is working at clock 3, the phase might be different. Correct? That means when I'm telling about phase, the edges are getting in a different. They will not be properly aligned, na? So when this particular, okay, don't worry about the next diagram. I'm worried about this. Okay. So when this particular edges are aligned, I will be able to know what time period it might take, what frequency it might take, everything I will be able to get to know. But when they are not aligned, that means having a small phase shift, right? So this particular difference is not known from clock 2 to clock 3. I'm talking that particular phase difference. I will not be able to justify this is the time taken, or this is the value. I will not be able to give a perfect number. Then my timing analysis will not be proper. But I want my data to be propagated. What can I do? Let's take for example, I'm a Tamilian or a Malayali and you are Telugu, but there is no common language which we can communicate. Then what should I do to make that particular data transfer from me to you, or you to me?
Translate.
Right, transmitter, or let's say I'll use a term called as mediator. Right. So here also, when I want to transfer this particular data from flip-flop 1 to flip-flop 2, if the clock domains are clock 2 and clock 3, I will be introducing a circuit called as synchronizer. This is the intermediate mediator, synchronizer. Okay, this synchronizers, which type of synchronizer to be used is developed by the CDC engineer. Okay, when there are asynchronous clock domains and the data to be passed, we will be adding a synchronizer. Okay, which type of synchronizer to be used will be decided by the CDC engineer. Okay, clear? CDC means clock domain crossing. That means I'm passing the data from one clock domain to another clock domain. Clear so far for everyone? So timing constraints we have discussed, and data is propagated. So this is again dependent on the timing constraints only. Okay, in how much time I want my data to be propagated, that will be dependent on the timing constraints, whether I need to pass that particular data or not. Okay, whether I need to analyze it or not, that everything is dependent on the timing constraints part. Okay, the next is we are going to be discussing is dynamic power consumption related. Let's say for example, when you're buying a phone, do you want it to be working for more time or less time? More time,
More time.
right? And do you want your device to be heated? No, right?
No.
So this concept, so the heating of that particular device is because of the leakage power. Okay, that I have to control it. Next, to increase the battery backup of your device, we need to do some internal power consumption techniques, reducing power consumption techniques. So what all techniques is there? I'll just give a brief. So if you remember, you have written one particular RTL sign off called as UPF or CLP, correct? Conformal low power. In the ASIC flow, we have written one particular stage, right? CLP. So in that particular CLP stage, we are going to be using the techniques to reduce this particular power consumption methodologies. Okay, here comes three different terms: CLP, power gating, second one is voltage domain, and the third one is clock gating. These are the major steps used for reducing the dynamic power consumption. Okay, power gating, voltage domain, and clock gating. So, brief you, power gating means I am going to be cutting off. Okay, I'm going to be cutting off the power to a certain domain. Let's say in our particular phone itself, what all modules we have? So modules means different functionalities, or let's say features. What all features we have? Major is network, camera, display. Coming under network, Wi-Fi, it's everything we have, right? So that is like network. Inside that particular network, your mobile data, Wi-Fi, right? Different domains are there again, internet. And after that, we have is display module. And after that, we have is RAM, clocking. Uh, Next, what else? Speaker. So like that, we have different set of modules available for us. So in this particular modules, whatever we have discussed, which one to be you want to be working always? It should be continuously working. Which module is that? Network module, right? Then only you can receive the calls, or you can call, receive the messages, and you can be able to revert. Okay, network module is a compulsory factor to be always on. But when you're talking about camera module, do you want it to be always on? No, only when I turn on that particular application, I want it to be working. Otherwise, I want it to be idle, or it has to be stopped working. Two cases I have. You have that force stop option. Na? When you give force stop means I am going to be turning off that particular module till I re-on that particular application. Okay, that means I'm going to be cutting off. That means I'm going to be saving the power, increasing the RAM also. Correct? For another application, it will be helpful. So like that, now coming to the network module itself. So initially I'm going to be using that particular network module only for the calls. Now what will be the power consumption of that module? Little bit less.
Yes.
When I turn on that particular data, mobile data, now let's talk like 3G, 4G, 5G. What will be the battery backup difference? Which one will eat more power? 5G, right? Because of that particular frequency bandwidth. So I need is like more voltage to for that particular module to be working now. According to the application itself, based on the working, the voltage difference is also there. Correct? That is called as voltage domains. Turning off the power, power gating. Based on the requirement, providing that particular voltage is voltage domain. Okay? Now the third one is clock gating. Okay, in this particular clock gating, I'm going to be stopping the clock. Okay, so simple says like clock gating, turning off the clock, turning off power, different voltage levels. So that's why I drew this particular diagram. Okay, module A to module B. Okay, so when I am having, okay, now I'm going to be telling like voltage domain related. When I'm having a data transfer, let's say this is working at 0.75 volt and this is working at 1.16 volt. Okay, my overall chip voltage is only 0.75 volt when saying, but there is only few requirement for separate module. 1.16 volt is required only for fewer cells. Okay, I can also provide 1.16 to complete chip, but is it required? No, right? I'm able to see that there are few cells which are working, which are going to be work with a lower voltage properly. Then I can be able to reduce the dynamic power consumption there, right? So this is like different voltage domains. So when I'm trying to transfer this particular data from one voltage domain to another voltage domain, what all issues I will face, how to rectify that particular issues, that we will be discussing during the PD advanced topic. Okay, we will definitely face. Okay, then what all, how to rectify it, that all we need to discuss during that time. Okay, and similarly when I'm trying to domain module A is always on and module B is turning off for a certain duration, then if any data is passed from off to on, what data will be passed? If I'm off and I'm trying to send you some data, then what data you will try to reach? Some garbage. We will self think na, garbage values only will pop up. Now how to overcome that particular garbage values? Okay, what type of cells to be used, everything we will be discussing during our PD advanced topic. Okay, these all concepts are required, these are all interview based questions. Okay, next similarly is clock gating. Okay, which type of cell to be used in the clock path to turn off the clock, how to make sure like the clock is stopped at this particular duration using the waveforms, everything we will be discussing in that PD advanced topics. Okay, development not required, knowing the knowledge is required. Okay, that's what we will be discussing over here. That is like how to control dynamic power consumption, that is what we have discussed now. Next is like leakage power. So we have different flavors of cells, right? You have heard about HVT, high threshold voltage, LVT, low threshold voltage, RVT or SVT, regular or standard threshold voltage. Now, which particular cells gives you more leakage power? LVT is, what is LVT? It's not full form. Definition of it.
Low threshold voltage.
No full form. I want definition. That means for that particular cell to be working, I need a small voltage difference to be turning it on. Correct? First understanding, low threshold voltage. Threshold voltage is to be making sure like from input to output data transfer. A small threshold voltage will make it work. As that particular small threshold voltage is making it work, from input to output, will the data be faster or slower? Data transfer rate. With a small voltage, I have made it to be working. So that means the data will be flowing faster. Okay, input to output, it's work faster. So when it starts to work faster, according to that, the sweat also will be coming out. If I run more and more, the sweat will be more and more. Correct? So here that sweat is called as leakage power. So LVT will be having more leakage power compared to other cells. Correct. Delay is also less. Okay, that all in STA, prospective. I think so. Gordon, you are experienced candidate in STA, if I'm not wrong. Okay. Because here we have is like freshers and experienced, so that's why I'm touching each and every topic from the basic part. Okay, there are experienced also, which feels little bit bored for them. Okay, so now to control this particular leakage power, we might reduce that particular LVT usage, or we might use some extra cells to drag out that particular leakage power. So you will be having external circuits for that. Like you will be having that fans, right? In CPUs, you will be seeing that. We'll be using that particular fan. Correct? What is the usage of that fan in CPUs? Cooling. So indirect heat. I'm not reducing the leakage power there. With that leakage power, whatever heat is getting generated, that I'm trying to pull it out, cooling that particular system. Okay. Now is like reducing the area, lower technology node. Anyways, I'm having that particular cell area reduction. And again in that, in our particular PNR flow, we will be having various stages. In that particular stage, we will be adding few amount of cells again. How to reduce them? That's how our particular task is. Okay. So practically earlier versions, what happened is like few companies had tried with +2 standard of completion. But as they don't have this kind of advanced knowledge of BTech or BE, they have stopped using them. Okay, it's a push button flow only. When you go to industry, it's a push button, but they don't know how to reduce it, how to analyze it properly. Okay, so that's why where we engineers play a major role. How to make sure like the timing based reduction techniques, how to reduce that particular area, how to reduce this particular leakage power, everything we only can play a major role. Okay, so that's where engineers is very much required. Clear for everyone so far? Okay, next is like we are going to be talking about physical design. Okay, till now we have discussed this ASIC flow and its particular internal concepts we have discussed, right? UPF development, CDC development, and a very much basics of STC. That is only time period I have discussed. But I have given keywords like transition, capacitance, and so will be present. Okay, so now we are going into our particular major agenda, that is physical design. Let's say first is flow, import design, floor plan, Power plan. So make it one more term added to import design, that is design planning. Done? Okay. So in this particular, first I will go with the term called as design planning. Okay. So design planning is the key terminology for a chip level designer. Okay. So that is, let's assume I'm working in an SOC level. So when I'm going to be working in an SOC level, will I be able to complete the task by one person or not? That is like, let's say again with the development of laptop now. Okay, in that what all types of laptops we have now? Two-in-one laptop, right? Where Bluetooth module, Wi-Fi module, projector module, keyboard, mouse, next is like processors, memory, like that we have more and more number of tasks available in this particular laptop itself. Correct? Can one person be able to complete all these particular flows and close that
No, sir.
particular design? The answer is yes, I can be able to do it. But the only one particular drawback there is the runtime. If I want this particular laptop to be manufactured in 1 year, if one person is handling it, he will be taking 3 years to close it. Correct? More task by a single person, more duration. But when I divide it and perform, I will be able to close it in less than 1 year also, based on the amount of engineers used for that particular project. Okay, for one project, there will be around like 500, 600 amount of engineers who is going to be working. Not only one team, several teams will be there. Okay, so that's where the complete SOC engineer, okay, internal to it, he will be deciding security module, by whom it has to be done, what all modules will be there, everything the SOC engineer will be knowing. Next is like camera module, clocking module, keyboard, mouse. So in this, there are few modules which are having less features. Keyboard and mouse, clocking. These are all small entities, correct? So he will group all those three and he will give it to one engineer. Okay, instead of taking more engineers for one and ones for small thing also, he will group that particular small things and he will make one engineer to perform that particular task. Okay, this is the stage of design planning, where he will try to divide by how many engineers will be required, everything will be decided. Okay, and also in this particular design planning stage, he will decide the shape of each and every block. This division, whatever I'm doing, right, that is called as block. Okay, he will decide the shape of that particular block also, and he will pass it to that individual block owners. That means area. He will decide the area and how that particular shape of your block should look, he will decide it and give it to you. You have to close it in that particular design area only. That is the task of a PT engineer, block level engineer to be specific. Okay. So in this particular import design stage, okay, now we have discussed about design planning. No? The next is import design stage. In this particular import design stage, we will be loading all the inputs required for that particular task to be performed. Okay. In import design, we are going to load all the inputs and perform sanity checks. That means verifying whether the inputs loaded is everything proper or not. The inputs are netlist. That means after synthesis you have generated na gate level netlist. So few terms you will be seeing like .v or .vg. According to our requirements, we'll load all. First is like very much information present in your netlist, .v or .vg. Next is like you will be loading is timing constraint file, .sdc. So to be more specific, I'll use a term called as .mcmm, and this, what is this mcmm file, we will be discussing during the advanced topics. Okay, next is like scan chain information. I missed this particular stage, I'm bad. I'm sorry. Right. Technology file. I'm leaving that particular section for a few time. Later on, I'll write that. Okay. Just listing out all the inputs. Oh wow, I got disconnected. I didn't know that. These are the different sets of inputs which you are going to be loading it into your import design stage. And after what each and every file contains and all that particular information will be discussed during the advanced concept. Okay, in depth. Now after that, each and every input whichever we are loading into the tool has to be verified. Information is complete information or incomplete information. The sanity checks has to be done. Okay, so all these particular concepts will be covered during the advanced level. Okay, now once is successful, the next stage is floor plan. Correct? In that particular floor plan stage, you will be performing the core area and die area formations. I'll just give a diagram. The same whatever we drew earlier, the same picture. So in this particular core area and die area, based on the shape and based on the area, first step. Okay, that means civil, let's say like I have purchased this area, so I'll give it to the civil engineer now. What he will do in that particular area, what are the bigger rooms, he will try to first allocate the area for that. And hi everyone, did I get disconnected in between? Okay, I'll repeat. That is like in this particular floor plan stage, based on the shape and area provided by the SOC engineer, we will try to implement it first. Okay, and after that, what I will try to do? Interface. Where is the power? From where I will get the power? From where I will get the data? Entrance. Everything I will try to decide. Correct? So the next is interface section. Okay, I'll give the terms here: die area, core area, and this is the IO clearance area. So in that particular IO clearance area, you will be placing all that particular interfaces. That is your ports or pads. Based on in which level you are going to be working, you will be placing that particular section. Ports or pads will be placed. Okay, once this particular placement is done, which room requires more power, that particular rooms will be constructed first. Or let's say which will be occupying more area, more power, that I will try to place it first. In here, we are going to be using a term called as macro placement. Okay, the next is macro placement. Macros are huge building blocks. Okay, macros are huge building blocks available in your design. That means in similar terms to say like SRAM, DRAM, PLL, all that comes under the category of macro or memory. Okay, that needs to be placed first. Because this macros or memory will require more area and more power. Okay, once I place this particular macros, after that I can be able to place the smaller areas freely, or let's say smaller cells, that is your standard cells. Okay, now as we are discussing about floor plan, I'll stop till the macro placement. Okay, I'll perform the macro placement, and along with this particular macro placement, we will be having some more extra type of special cells we are going to be inserting over here. So what are those special cells and what is its purpose? We will be discussing during the advanced. Okay, so we will be like giving hints here. So macro placement is done, and after this particular macro placement, I'll close my special cell placement, and after that I'll close the floor plan. I'll perform sanity check, I'll close that particular floor plan. And next stage is power plan. So this particular power plan related specifications will be provided by a separate team. Okay, because power plays a major role in our particular design perspective. If there is no enough power, what will happen? If you don't eat enough food, what will happen? Won't work properly, which cause the functionality issues, right? So power distribution is a very much bigger problem. When you go to lower technology nodes, power related control techniques and power leakage control techniques is the one of the challenging cases. Okay, so that as it requires more time, a PD engineer will not be able to focus all completely. Okay, so this power planning will be taken help from the another team. Power team will be there. Okay, a script they will try to share with us, and along with that particular script, what should be the values, everything they will share in a format of a PDF and a tickle file. So we once that particular power planning is done, we will verify the results. That means power planning is like distributing the power network with the help of keywords called as rings, straps, rails, bumps. Like that, we have multiple terminologies coming into picture. Trunks, and like that, we have multiple keywords. So based on the level of logic which we are performing, the keywords will vary. Okay. Yeah, flip chip and the wire bound design, everything will be dependent. So in that flip chip or wire bound, based on that only your flow from your initial case itself will be started. Okay, so here let's me go back with the floor plan, creating core die area or let's say boundary. Next is like interface. Right. So that all is like a little bit advanced topic, so that's why I'm not touching it. That's why indirectly, instead of telling that keywords like aspect ratio, utilization, I said like based on the area and shape provided by the chip top level. So how that gets decided is based on that aspect ratio, that is height by width, and utilization is the area requirement. Because this is a demo flow, I'm not touching all that particular complete set of keywords. In power plant, distributing the power, okay, distributing the power evenly all over the design, making sure the IR drop is less. Here the keywords is like IR drop. Okay, so for this particular distribution of power, we will be using a keywords like ring, strap or stripe, rails, bumps, trunks. All this we are going to be using. Okay, based on the type of design again. That is wire chip manufacturing, wire chip or flip chip. sorry, wire bound or flip chip. Based on that, we are going to be deciding which type of power distributing system has to be used. Okay, so once this particular power planning is done, boring, huh? Placement. Okay, the next step is placement. In this particular placement, based on the timing, congestion, and power, standard cells will be placed. Okay, so it has some internal algorithms called as HFNS. Major is like HFNS, bounds, path group. All this will be discussed. Okay, there are multi more, but I'm writing only few keywords. Okay. So standard cells are smaller logics. That is like your sequential circuits and combinational circuits, which is like having smaller logics. That is like AND gate, OR gate, mux, flip flop, register, multi-bit register, and special type of cells for your UPF. All that comes under the category called as standard cells. Okay, next is CTS, clock tree synthesis. Building of the clock network. Building the clock network. This, while building the clock network, which type of clock tree to be used? Okay, which type of, okay, which type of clock tree to be used for building this particular clock network, and how much time to be taken for that particular clock to be reached. Okay, that everything is dependent. Okay, types of clock trees. And next you will be having keywords like skew, latency, NDR, and multi more. Okay, so and next you will be performing the sanity checks. That is like verifying whether whatever we have done in that particular stage is proper or not. Okay, that we are going to be verifying. Next is like routing. Routing is the very easiest stage. Okay, very easiest stage, that is like the closure of your PD. That means like not closure of your chip. That means like for that particular flow, routing is the last stage. And after that it goes to the ECO cycles. Routing means making the nets physical. Till this particular routing stage, we have few nets which are virtually connected only, not physically connected. So we will be converting that particular virtual connections into the physical formats. Okay, making the nets physical. So in here, you will, or let's say from CTS stage, you will be hearing a keyword called as SI. That is your crosstalk, where we will be having discussion about different types of crosstalk. All that we will be having a discussion. Okay, and also we will be hearing about antenna, EM, that is electro migration, Okay, once this particular routing is done, we can say it's a sign off stage, whichever we have written in that ASIC flow. That is the sign off stage, same here. Okay, in this particular sign off stage, we will be performing physical verification, timing closure, and power, and next is like densities, which comes under physical verification itself, but to few will be saying it outside also. Okay, in this particular physical verification, you will be having the term called as physical DRC and LVS. This is also called as STA. STA means static timing analysis. Okay, physical DRC and LVS. This two we will take care. And next in the timing closure, where you will try to close the design with respect to a terms called as setup time, hold time, SI violations, logical DRCs. All this will be handled. Sorry. And the next category is power, where you will be observing for leakage power, dynamic power, IR drop, and next is EM violations. Forgot to mention in physical verification added the keyword antenna also. And in densities, area density and metal density. Okay, so this is about the flow. Okay, ASIC flow and PD flow. So in our particular course duration, okay, course topics covered. We are going to be covering synthesis. Okay, we are going to be covering synthesis, tool used is design compiler, and next is physical design, tool used is ICC2, and the third is STA. Okay. And basics of physical verification in ICC2 itself. Okay. And where we are going to be covering number of projects is 2 projects, 21 project 1, where you will be technology node you are going to be using is 28 nm, which you will be working parallelly with respect to the mentors. Okay. Project 2 is technology node is 14 nm, which will be purely assignment. That means each and every bit of information you have to develop it based on explanation. There will be support. Okay, support will not close, support will be there, but you have to do this particular 14 nm project from your end. Okay, based on the explanations provided from the 28 nm, you have to develop your own scripts, own SDC files, everything. Okay, we will just give you the numbers according to that particular thing an advantage is an advantage for you. Okay, because spoon feeding we don't do. Okay, we want you to develop everything from your end, so that's why you have to cover here. So in this scripting, you will be having an information related to tickle and Unix. Okay, and the next is like analog and digital. So all these particular topics will be covered during the course duration. Clear? Right, perfect. So now, if you have any questions with respect to the technical side, you can raise it. If any administrative side, I'll ask for the admin to join and he will be answering your questions. Any technical questions you want to ask, you can shoot. No questions? Online students? No questions? Yeah, you can shoot your question.
Is my voice audible?
Yeah, the project. Yeah, you're audible.
So for a 14 nanometer, I if we are involved in an e-learning platform, still we will be able to do from your support also, not like how to approach
Yes.
for the 14.
Yes. See,
So
e-learning or let's say normal, what is the difference
yes,
is like, I think so e-learning you will be able to access through the videos, and at the same time you will be having a lab support mentors available. So you will be able to
okay,
work on it.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Uh, uh, any other questions?
What is the is any kind of deadlines for the assignment submission?
Yes, there will be deadlines. Based on that particular task provided, we will be giving that particular deadlines also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Don't worry, if you are not able to do it, will be helping you also. Let's say like based on how you have analyzed it, you will be giving the some key points, right? And we will be giving some advancement in that. Okay, add this particular feature also. Let's say you can use this particular methodology. We can guide you. If you're not able to do it, we will help you in face to face. Or let's say how the mentorship and that process is going on, we will be handling in that particular session hours itself. Okay.
So recordings are available, na? We will be getting this recording that you all have taught us today. Like,
Yes.
oh,
It will.
Uh, Hi Arjun.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, hey, I have a query that, sorry, I could not, was not able to join first half an hour of the
Okay.
meeting, right? So I wanted to know that like this is for like this demo class you have is it for advanced PD
It's for
course or it
physical
is
design.
okay,
It's generally like a PD session where after this you will be having is like basics and advanced.
okay,
Okay. So this is like an combination of basics and advanced because few might know the terminologies and few might not know that particular advanced based terminologies. So that's why this is like a combination. For those who want to join basics, they can be able to join the basic session. And if you join it, and one advantage is like when you go to advanced, it will be an easier for understanding. Okay, that is the main
okay,
purpose.
okay. And sorry, probably I should take this up with admin. I'm not sure, but for me the meeting, I think the sessions were not seamless. I don't know if anyone else faced this issue, but uh, I don't know if it's from my end or
Sorry,
what is it
which
or
space issue?
this app, right? This session, right? Live
No,
session that I
I didn't
was.
get you. Good.
Sorry, I was saying about this live session, right? That was live streaming that was happening.
Hmm.
Session that was not
Yeah.
seamless. Like I had dropped, like it the meeting dropped for me, and then I had to rejoin and something. I don't know if I was the only one or what. So probably I should take this up with
So few
admin. I'm
times
not
even
sure.
it happened. Few times it happened to me also. There is some kind of glitch either in the network or in the go-to. I'm not sure. So that's why I was re-explaining few concepts again and again.
Okay,
It won't happen in the when it goes further. Only random cases we cannot say it.
okay, okay.
Okay, right. Okay, asking admin to join if there are no technical. Okay, right. Just give us few minutes, 5 minutes, such that we can be able to ask the admin to join. I'm a working professional, Govardhan. I'm B and a dropped out ME. Due to some of issues, I was not able to complete it. Now I'm not in a mood to study. I'm a little bit frank enough. Okay, I'll ask admin to join. Just give us 5 minutes.
Hello.
Hi, thanks everyone. This is Vishal signing off, and admin will be joining now.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So, myself, Vaibhav, I'm the manager of VLSI Group, handling the training and placement. During your complete training, you will be going through multiple modules. I think all the technical aspects was cleared by Vishal. I will be giving you a brief in a shorter time itself about how this training will go, how we will evaluate your process, and coming to how we will provide you the placements. Okay. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay. So, let's begin with the course curriculum. So, so it will be around 6.5 months course, or it might go to max 7 months course. Okay. So during these 7 months, what you're going to learn? So this 6 to 7 months of course is divided into two parts. Around 2.5 months of basics, then moving to the projects. That is called the advanced training. See here, when we start from the basics, we will be starting from digital design, because digital design is the base fundamental that is required, and all of you are aware also because it is covered in your academy. Because in digital design also, we will start with one's complement to supplement. Everything we will be teaching you from the scratch. Then, as per the module progress, NX, PD flow, then we will go to semiconductor device fundamentals. In that, IC fabrication will be also involved. Now, what is required? What is physical design? Physical design is all about the tool and technologies. So you should know which tool is used for which task. For example, synthesis and STA. For floor plan placement, you will be requiring ICC. So you should give the commands and invoke the tool. That commands or command language is covered in the basic, that is a tool command language. So we will be covering TCL in the basics itself. Once we complete TCL, we will move on to the projects. Now, coming to these projects, this main course of around 4 months, it is for us to teach you these topics with small examples. In 1 month we can do, but that is not an industry requirement. What is the industry requirement? They should have a hands-on project. So for that purpose, what we'll be doing is we'll be doing two projects. One is on block level and another one is on chip level. So in both the projects, we will be doing this synthesis, timing constraints, NDM libraries, floor plan, placement, power plan. In both the projects, we'll be doing, in which the trainer will teach you in the theory session, but in the lab sessions, the mentor will be there to guide you. So I am the trainer. Then Saturday, Sunday, I will teach you 5 topics per day. So I will cover 10 topics. That all 10 topics that I'm covering in 2 days, everything I will demonstrate onto the tool. So in the theory, you don't have to do anything. But whatever 10 topics I have covered in later 4 days, that is Monday to Thursday, it will be split it into two topics or 2 3 topics per day, where the mentor will ask you to do. Suppose there are 3 hour session. In the 3 hours, two topics. Initial 1 hour he will explain. He will show how to do. Remaining 2 hours he will ask you to do. So offline candidates have to bring their systems and they will do and show the output. Online candidates, once they are done, they should share the screen and show the output. Not only to show the output, if the tool is not invoking or you are getting some errors, you can directly share the screen. The mentors will debug. Now, till now, is it clear, everyone? Okay, what about online candidates? I request let's have a bidirectional communication. So Himanshu, Gayatri, Dinesh, till here any doubts?
Hello, sir. No, sir.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So now this is this is about how it will be in sync between the training,
Hello, sir.
sorry, between the labs and the theory. Now coming to the placements. Yes, please tell me.
Yeah, regarding sir, this project,
Hello.
new project is starting from first month of training or completed of 4 months or to three last month of completed module.
After the basics is completed, we will start the project. Once we start the project, in that project, how to do synthesis of that in that project, how to do the initial design setups, this all will be included. So while doing the projects, these topics will come and there we will explain how to do it. So in the next, you are very well aware of how to do this thing. So in the next project will be a revision for doing these things.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, so again coming to the point. So I have just theory and the labs and how we'll be doing the hands-on. One more thing, the tools you will be using is Synopsys tools, which includes a package of ICC2, Primetime, Star IC, Design Compiler, IC Validator. So we will provide you the access, which will be 20. Now coming to the placements, majority of the people will be joining with the perspective of getting into the industry. See, basically what we do is these are nothing but the modules and requirements from the company that they have immediate requirements, they want the profile. So suppose you are a batch, you enroll for the students and you are sitting in the batch. Okay, in that batch, how will I come to know that you are a good candidate or you are performing candidate? Whether you are attending offline, online, weekend batch, full week batch, that is totally different. So to evaluate your performance after completion of every module, there will be an assessment. You have to perform well in the assessment. Candidates who are performing well in the assessment are considered as good performance. But about those who are not performing, even if you are not performing, we will give you at least minimum of 2 to 3 chances every after 10 days to revise and come. After 3 4 chances, if you are not able to cope up with what are the requirements and whatever we covered, we ask you particular module. So digital design will go for 15 days, TCL will go for 10 days. That's how the 2.5 months are split. Now, attending online, even if you are attending weekend, whatever the session is going on, for example, theory or even the labs, we are expected you to learn and clarify your doubt. We are not expecting you to note down anything. Why? Because if now suppose I am talking and you started noting down, or even you are attending online and you start questions if I tell, you start noting down. But while noting down, you'll right because simultaneously can't happen that you hear also and you write also. It won't happen. So for that purpose, what we do is we have our own e-learning platform. So once you enroll for the course, we will provide you the login credentials. You will be enrolling for physical design. So this physical design tab will be open for you. In this physical design, videos, presentations, assignments, no. So if I go here for the videos, now also when you have joined, you might have heard a voice that this session is now being recorded. So what happens is whichever session we are doing in this complete training, every session is getting recorded. So what the perspective of recording the session is, you attend the session, you learn the things, clarify the doubts. Once the session is done, within couple of hours, this video will be uploaded on the InSkill portal. You will be getting the live session recording of all the sessions. For what purpose? To revise. Or if you miss anything, suppose you are attending a session here, 100% all the knowledge that we have transferred or all the things, no, 70 to 80% you will understand, some part you will be missing. We are giving you the recorded videos, so through the recorded videos you will understand completely the recorded videos. But please make sure that the recorded videos should not become a primary source of learning. The primary source of learning should be live training, because you are enrolling live training to interact with the trainer. In case if you are a working professional, you are occupied and you are not getting time, then you can have the videos. Then those who are going through the videos, they have to be proactive in asking the doubt. There is an individual group we will create for every candidate who will be enrolling. We will assign the unique ID, and based on that, we will create an individual group. In that individual group, every candidate who is enrolling will have a dedicated WhatsApp group where the trainer itself will be there in that group. So suppose you are going through the video and you come across any doubt, you should not wait for the session. That trainer will come in that session. I will directly post. Yeah, directly post your query in that group, in that individual group. The trainer will respond. So it is called as immediate support. So it should not, time should not lapse in your learning. It's an immediate learning, and you go ahead. Now, one more thing. Basically, what happens is, even if suppose I am the trainer, or even I have industry trainers who are working in MNC companies with at least minimum 10 years experiences. Suppose I am taking a question of or topic of floor plan. Is it possible to explain you all the interview questions in the session? There might be a number of interview questions, right? So is it possible to discuss the interview questions in the 3 hours of or 4 hours of session? No. So what we have done is, we have collected all the interview questions that has been asked, whether it's a product based companies or the service based companies, assignment. So we have a tab over here. So how it works is, suppose at the end of this training, someone comes. Yeah, someone comes and tell me, sir, I am well prepared. Please give me opportunities. I don't have any idea how much he is prepared. If even if he comes and says I am well prepared, still I don't have any idea. But someone comes and tell me, sir, I am done with the 70% assignment. I am done with the 80% assignments. Then I know that he has solved majority of the interview questions. And person who can solve majority of the interview question indicates he is well prepared. So the criteria for the placement for every candidate, irrespective of whatever your CGPA is, assignments. Now, please understand, I have used the line irrespective of your CGPA or irrespective of percentage. Why that line I have used? It is because when you apply for the company, what is the requirement for look for two things. One is the criteria, second is the skill sets. So I ask the question all of you. According to you, which is more mandatory, criteria or skill set? Online, online candidates,
Skill set.
Skill sets.
Perfect.
skill sets. Okay. Offline, yes sir. Skill set. So exactly. See, basically what we are doing is, we are getting the requirements from technical person or those who are already working in the industry. We are not getting some HRs and all. It's a direct technical team are calling. When the I will give an example. Wipro, a person who is in team lead in Wipro has told that I have projects. I want candidates to work on project. I asked him, what is the criteria you're looking at? He's okay with the criteria, but a skilled candidate, a trained candidate who can work on the project. So in that case, he hired a candidate who was 2014 pass out. And for companies, if a candidate is skilled, the salary won't be a much issue, right? So that's the reason I use irrespective of your CGP. If you are good, but still if your CGP, what will happen max to max? There will be only two criteria that is not matching. What are the two criteria? Either percentage or CGPA, or the next is year of pass out. This year of pass out and CGPA are the secondary if a candidate is having skill set. I will tell you one more example. A company has asked for the candidates and they were very strict with the criteria. I have shared them the profile. Then they have come up with, they will conduct one round of screening. In the one round of screening, if the candidate is good, they are ready to adjust with the criteria. So when you are enrolling for the course, don't worry about my criteria is my CGPA is less, my percentage conversion is less, I have some gaps, or even my year of pass out is earlier. That should not be considered. First of all, gain the skill sets. There are n number of companies will be there to hire. Suppose by any chance either year of pass out or even CGPA you are not eligible. In that case, we will come up front where I have tabs with 70 plus companies. That includes only two kinds of companies. Basically, product based, and second one is tier one service based. What do I mean by tier one service based? Tier one service based means the companies who are already have the clients will pay a good, and they have a decent growth in that industry. Not like startups. We don't entertain any startups. Now, coming to the course curriculum, as I said, there will be evaluation every periodic evaluation. We will assess your performance. Now, coming to technical things, evaluation we have done, but we know that some students lag also. So we will be conducting periodic 15-20 days. We will be conducting group discussion sessions as well as soft skill training, where we will be spending some additional time on your soft skill training as well. Coming to the schedule for full week, it will be Monday to Thursday will be labs, and Saturday Sunday will be theory. For initial 2 months of basics, where we cover digital, PD flow, semiconductor, it will be Monday to Saturday. Coming to weekends batch, again for the 2 months of basics, it will be Monday to Saturday, where you will get the live session recording. But once the main training starts, advanced training, it will be 9:30 to 1:30, Monday to Thursday labs, and Saturday. So once advanced training start for both full week and weekend batch, Saturday Sunday will be theory. For full week students, they will do labs on Monday to Thursday. For weekend students, they will be in 2:30 to 6:30. So weekend students will have 9:30 to 1:30 will be theory, one hour 2:30 to 6:30 labs. That will continue both Saturday and Sunday. But this 2:30 to lab 30 for full week students will be happening between Monday to Thursday. That's how our training. What are the modes of training I have? I have offline, I have full week training, I have weekends batch training, and even I have a hybrid mode where you can switch online, offline, offline to online, or even you're going through the videos, even full week, weekend. We are okay with it. We are not here to track your attendance, make your attendance as 75%. Nothing. We are not here to track anything. At the end, my team is there who will conduct evaluation of at the end of the module. At the end of the module, when the evaluation is conducted, you should perform well. If you perform well, then only I will be able to proceed you to the next module. But if you don't perform well, for me, again, I can push you to the next module. For me, not an issue. But will you gain knowledge? That is little bit difficult if you don't perform well. So perform well and then you will get. Now, till here, I have given you all the information. Any questions that you are having, please put in the chat box. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So is it okay if I have no idea about C programming? See, basically what happens is when C programming is required, any idea of when C programming is required? C programming, C code. What we do is we write a C code, we convert it to assembly code, and we dump it to the IC. That's what we have done, right? Or even let's take an example of Arduino. You might have used in academics. What you're doing is you're doing the C programming and dumping into the code, right? In VLSI, C programming is used at a SOC level. Even for not only PD, if you join DFT, if you join design verification, in all these courses, C programming is not at all required, because in PD, 100% C programming is not required. Right? But even in design verification, initial one or 2 year, you will be working at one IP level, that is PCI, DDR, USB, anything. Then you will go to subsystem. After 4 years, you will go to SOC level. And when you go to the SOC level at a processor level, there C programming is required. So please do not have any misconception that C programming language is required. There is not at all requirement of any language. If you have, it will be an added advantage, but it won't be a 1% obstacle in your learning. Yeah. I have opted for hybrid mode in case if I miss theory during weekends. Will I be able to cover the same lecture during weekends or another theory session we can sync? Whenever we start a batch, we allot a trainer. A trainer will be taking both the batch, the weekend batch also and the weekdays batch also. So he is very well in sync with whatever is going on in the weekend and the weekdays batch. Coming to someone missing the session, as I said, irrespective of whether you are attending or you are not attending the session, the live session recording will be shared for 10 days. So there is always backup of live session recording, which will be mandatory for 10 days only. So if you miss any session, suppose today you are occupied, but you have the video on your portal tomorrow till 10 days, you can go through it, through the video, you come across any query. There is an individual WhatsApp group where the trainer is directly connected to you. Put your query in that group. That's how it will go. Yeah. Basically, after completion of every module, there will be a written test, there will be, and after completion, okay, one more thing that came into my mind. See, suppose you all are well performing, right? And you applied for the interview, your first interview. Then how many percent chances are there that you will get selected? Yeah, online candidates. Your
Sorry, sir,
first
what's the
interview.
question?
Suppose you are well prepared, everything is this one, everything is clear, you are attending your first interview. What are the chances that you get selected?
Uh, one by total number of candidates apply. I mean,
Okay. Dinesh,
available.
Govardhan, Himanshu. Okay. So I will tell you. See, let's not go in a calculation of how many applied, and there might be 99% chances that you get selected. But still there is 1% chance of rejection. Because what happens is when this is the interview, it might be that he became nervous, he became blank out, he is not able to speak up, or he didn't understand the tricky questions. In that case, what we prepare? Whatever interview you are applying, okay, in case if you get rejected, there will be a one-to-one, please understand, there will be a one-to-one support session where the trainer will sit with you and check what are the questions asked, what answers you gave, what questions you are not able to give the answer, why you are not able to give the answer. So we will work on what are your rejection factors, why you got rejected. Suppose you have given you came to know this question was asked and you given the answer, you will tell the same in the one-to-one session. Trainer will tell this is not a right way, this the answer should be given in another way, so that when you go for the next interview you won't make the same mistakes. So not only mock interviews, a one-to-one support sessions after every rejection will be provided so that same mistakes won't be repeated. Let's take an example. In the first interview, we had done 4 mistakes, right? We will tell you not to do these 4 mistakes. In the second, you had done another 2 mistakes. Still, we will tell you that these are the 2 mistakes you shouldn't do. Third, fourth, eventually, somewhere you get selected. Understood? That's how the support will be provided.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
For every
Yes, please tell me.
yeah, so for every MNC and every VLSI industry company requirement is different. Then if I sit in first interview, then it depends upon different criteria. मतलब different HR rounds and different technical rounds will be in that. But in something point of that, sir, regarding for that, in next company, then how will be the same? Will be course model will be approximately how is the question same both the different companies. So different companies are according to how you will be prepare for that. About if first company is the interview not shortlisted, then again it's a new company, second chance. Then what is the criteria behind that, and how is the prepared? What is the method, and what is the
Okay.
sir, particular what is the theme, and what is the preparation strategy behind that?
what happens is whatever the tag companies I'm having, course curriculum I'm covering, and they are okay with the course curriculum. So let's take an example, a topic of floor plan. Okay, Ignitarium is one of the company. He will ask different questions on floor plan. Okay, if you might selected or get rejected, that is other questions. But you again apply to a company called Samsung. Okay, there might be other questions. Our support will be with respect to floor plan. What kind of questions can be asked? What all the questions can be asked, how you should answer, what kind of tricky questions are there. So even if the company changes, even if the question changes, you should be strong with the concepts. And we will also tell you what kind of tricky questions can be asked, will be required, how to, everything we will cover. So irrespective of question changes or even the company changes, we will provide the support. Coming to what is the company strategies or company process of require, 70 to 80% of the companies will follow 4 rounds of interview. First is written test, second is the HR round, third is the technical discussion, fourth is the salary discussion. If you go for the fourth round, it means you get selected. So the initial first round will be written test. Written test will be completely focused on the basics. That will be having Linux, TCL, the digital design, or even some PDF semiconductor fundamentals. That will be written test. My course curriculum of 2 months of basics will be more than sufficient to clear the basics if you are completing the assignments. Coming to the HR round, that's the reason we are conducting the soft skill training presentation sessions, because it will be just basic communications. You should be good with average. You should be able to represent yourself. Coming around, there is a technical discussion. Technical discussion is carried out by the industry trainers, sorry, not industry trainer, team leads, managers, who will take you into your team. They will not ask, they will directly ask what problems you faced. So you have to tell them that okay, I was getting the aspect ratio of around 3.5 nanometer, which was has to be reduced. So how you reduce? What techniques you use? That you have to explain. So that's how in the technical discussion, if you are able to give the answers, 70 to 80% of the answers, they will be considering your profile as shortlisted and they will forward it to the next. That is 70 to 80% companies will start. Now, if there are immediate requirements, they will directly take technical discussion. In the technical discussion itself, the team lead will check your basic communication and he will check the technical aspects also, and then you are done. But technical discussion will be by default happening. Yeah. So I hope I have. Is it clear for you?
Yes.
Hello. Okay. So coming to the next questions. If anyone wants to join advanced course only, then you need to wait around couple of months till the basic theory course completes. No, you don't have to wait for another couple of months. Basically, we start the batch every after 6 weeks, and we have upcoming advanced batch directly. If you want to enroll directly to the advanced batch, we will be starting in around 15-20 days. You can go for the advanced course also. But if you go for the advanced course, the risk factor is, will you be able to cover up the basics? See the basics. Now let's take an example of digital design. There are a number of resources where you get a digital design, but we cover as per the industry requirement, and we are sure that if you go out through our digital design course, definitely there will not be a single question, whether it's an any exam or a company. You can take IES, GATE, NET, SET, even you will cover, you will be able to solve any digital question. Even any interview questions comes with digital, you will be able to solve. That is for sure. Second comes to TCL scripting. We cover in depth of TCL scripting, which is more than enough sufficient to apply as a PD engineer. But if you skip these basics, you have to take the responsibility of the basics. If you learn from any other resources which is not sufficient, then learning those things will be your waste of time, because you have learned only partially, not in them. Cost wise, it will, taking basics and advanced will be on a higher side compared to only advanced, but it will be a one time investment to get the skill set and get the upgrade of your knowledge in digital as well as the TCS scripting. PD fundamentals, that is fine, semiconductor is fine, but digital in the Linux. Yeah. For integrated development, I did it. Pratik, can you please elaborate this question? Hello, Pratik. Okay. So can you know anybody placed in Sir? Reason why anybody placed in 2003 from this institute? It's not like about, I don't know how this misconception came to you. Right now also there are multiple candidates who has got placed. Even in Ignitarium we have placed. Even we have requirements from the cadence as well. Even in PD also there were requirements in the cadence, where the candidates are looking for, sorry, the companies are looking for the trained candidates. So it's not like nobody is placed. If there are any concerns, please let me know. We will have an interaction also. But now also are preferring our candidates. Why? Because of the updated projects. What are the updated projects? Earlier we were doing on 28 nanometer, but now we have 14 nanometer also, because that is the requirement of the industry. Yeah. Salman. Okay, so which engineers have more jobs opportunities, DFT or PD? See, DFT and PD both are into the backend. When it comes to DFT, PD, the opportunities are lying on the same. Hardly it will be a plus 5 minus 5 difference will be. When it comes to backend, the opportunities are same. As of now, we are receiving the DFT and PD both the requirements. Even if you are from Triple E, you are eligible to take any course, but in PD DFT there won't be much difference with respect to the opportunities. Yeah, even if you're, as I said, even if you're 2014 pass out, candidates who are into 2014 14 pass out, if they have skill set, what is lagging is the year of pass out only. So through recommendation, through reference, you have good chances to get into the industry, but you have to show up your performance. Yeah. So
Sir,
even if, see,
sir,
basically what
so,
happens
sir,
is,
sir, so which course do you recommend for me? Physical design or DFT?
even if you don't want to go into coding at all, you can go for physical design. Whereas
Okay,
it comes to DFT, it will be having 10 to 15% of Verilog training.
very low. So it's like
Verilog will be
programming type.
right, hardly 10 to 20%.
Okay, okay. Rest of the things are the similar. I mean, syllabus are
Yes.
little bit similar. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So we don't go with a count like 4 interviews, 5 interviews, 6 interviews. We will provide you the placement support till you get placed. Let's give me an example of around
Hello,
2018.
sir.
2018 is we
Yes,
have
sir.
conducted a batch. Students were there, but a sudden, yeah. Please let me complete. So
Sir,
basically,
regarding
the
sir,
candidates in
yeah, yeah.
2018 has completed. Hello.
Again, pardon, because sir, you send that platform. It is a lagging something in network issues. Again, 15 minutes and 40 minutes consecutively after that. So, what is the sir reason behind that? Key is go to meeting and join platform, go to webinar platform. You take it classes. Then it is a network glitches again and again, time to time. After short durations, again and again, it will be happening. So this platform. For live training, it has not been commanding and very useful for that. Completely for even 2 hour live session and training session, multiple share sessions will be assignment session, PD session training will be given. Then this platform is not been very good and because the glitches every time, time to time between them.
Okay. In that
Interaction,
case, Pratik, what we will
very
do
interaction
is,
between them for that, sir. Regarding for that.
yeah, Pratik. Yeah, Pratik.
Yeah, last
What I will do is,
just
I
before
will align
15
you with
minutes,
my help in.
my network
Give,
will be very breakdown, and I will not.
hello. Hello. Okay. So I think there is some network issue as he said. Others are able to hear me, right?
Hey, yes, I can hear you now, but I also faced the issue that he faced
No issues.
in
So
the previous session.
I have my technical team. They will take care of it. No issues. They will take care of it. Okay. So coming back to again, how many approx interviews we'll be giving. So I was discussing about there was a scenario in 2018 where candidate has completed the training, but immediately after 1 month recession has came. Okay, the recession has last for almost 6 months. So during that 6 months, what we have done is we conducted revision sessions, periodic revision sessions we have done, because we are, since we are continuous tie-up with the company, or we are in touch with the companies. Every after 3 months we have a meeting with the company. We come to know, okay, even the decision phase, which course will be this one, and can we do some advanced training, shall we do some advanced training, or shall we provide them some external modules so that they will get placed. So we provide you the support in external. For example, recession has came, they are not hiring physical design engineers, they are hiring synthesis and STA. So we will teach you some basics of synthesis and STA also, and we will try to support you. And that recession has gone for 6 months. After 6 months, once this recession was gone, out of this 25 candidates, almost 23 candidates has got placed, that too into contract as well as service based company. So this is how we are going. We don't go with the limitation that 3 opportunities, 4 opportunities. Till you get a job, we will provide you. Even we have candidates who have done the training, because of some reasons they have taken a break of around 7 to 8 months. Once they take the break of 7 to 8 months, they again come. That's why I previously have done the training. I want to apply for the interviews. So we provide them mock interviews. We tell them that since it's a break, you're lagging with this. We provide them the videos and the resource to train, resource to learn again, revise again. Once they're trained, we provided them the support. That that option is also available. Yeah, I have applied only for advanced video course starting. I'm already allotted for a right to the right bus from where we will notify. So Sham, there is an individual group created for you. Please put your queries in the individual group. My team will respond you with the date and the schedule also. Yeah. So this
Right.
ID VG6 is your ID, and this is a common group that we create for all the students who are in full week, weekend, online, offline. So the group which is with the name VG and VG867, you put your query in the group, and that in that group itself you will be posting your technical queries.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, offline students? Yeah. Any other queries, online candidates? Okay. So I will be sharing my number as well.
Hi, can I ask one query if it's not too late?
Please tell me.
Hey, so I want to know, right? So for those like who are not opted for placement and like like for them also the assignment completion would be tracked, uh, assignment completion and everything, right? Or how does that work?
See, basically what happens is, even if suppose if you're not applying for the placements, but if you do the assignments, you will come to know what kinds of questions can be asked, or what kinds of there with respect to a particular topic.
Yes, understood. I was just asking because I'll be completing. I would like to complete all my assignments, but because it would be difficult to manage my schedule, right? Like
No issues.
since
See,
I'm already
basically
work.
what happens is if there are any concerns regarding the time and all, you can put in the individual group and the
Yeah.
admin will take a call. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have shared my contact number. If the call number is busy or anything, you can directly WhatsApp me, either me or the director of the institute, Mr. Srinivas Reddy. He will revert back to you. For those who have enrolled for the course, we will be starting a batch from tomorrow itself, that is Monday, where we will be doing some orientation sessions, Monday and Tuesday. A full week regular batch will start from Wednesday. Okay. Any queries now?
Yeah, sir.
Okay.
Regarding sir, yes, sir. Hello. So one question.
Please tell me.
Regarding sir, evening batch is not been any evening afternoon or an evening batch.
No, actually, evening batch is not there. See, we have to time which is mostly preferable by all of them. So we have this one. The timings between 9:30 to 1:30. But for evening, those who are looking for evening, you are getting the recorded videos, and the trainer is also aligned one to one, where you can go through the video and you can clarify the doubts with the trainer.
And sir, weekend any weekend timing, which is what is timing of weekend batch? Saturday and Sunday.
9:30, 9:30 to 1:30 will be theory, and 2 to 6 will be labs. 2:30 to 6:30 will be labs.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have shared you the number, all of you. You can please note down or directly reach out to me. I will not be connected only at the time of your admission till your placements. If there are any concerns, what we are doing is you will be added into individual group where I will not be there. So suppose you are enrolled for the course, 3 months, everything happening smooth, but after that you so I will be making sure that you get a direct response. So I will be a secondary resource and directly let get into it, and we will discuss how it is going to happen. Yeah. Anything else? So by this we will end the session here. If there are anything, please reach out to me on call or WhatsApp. Okay. Yeah. Thank you everyone.